I was recently invited to a Balatro multiplayer team tournament, and while I do have a strong team along with Dr. Spectered, there was one team that caught my eye. The Orange Obelisks, comprised of some of the best Balatro players, all currently in the top 10 on the ranked leaderboard. So, to see how much trouble I was in, I decided to challenge them to a best of 5 where I'd face each member of the Orange Obelisks. My first match was up against Obelisk Enjoyer, currently ranked 10th on the Balatro ranked leaderboard with over 100 matches played. We decided to play on the Zodiac deck, and this is the deck I would be using for all of the matches going forward. In the first shop, I opened the Buffoon pack and took reserve parking, which I would use to generate a lot of econ in the early big blind, along with Zany Joker to keep me alive. I was now heading into the second shop with $24, and with this I would pick up a Red Seal King along with Blue Joker from a Judgment card. The Red Seal would help me make even more money in the boss blind with reserve parking, along with coming in handy later down the line. The next shop gave me the trio, giving 3x mult along with the business card, which I could use to make even more money. In the following shop, I picked up the pieces for a very strong build, finding a Justice card along with Photograph. During the big blind, I used my Justice to turn my Red Seal Glass, making it a very powerful card to use for the face-off. In the final shop before the face-off, I picked up Showman, making it easier to find multiples of the tarot cards I needed. Having 4 Glass Kings at this point, 2 of which had red seals, I was set to play a very strong hand for this face-off. But after seeing my opponent's score, I opted to only risk 2 of them. The first shop of Ante 3 would give me a Dusk, which would be very strong as it would give an extra trigger to all of my glass along with Photograph. With this, I decided to sell reserve parking as Dusk would give extra triggers to business card. I would create even more glass during the rest of the ante, and by the next face-off, I had a very strong hand with 3 glass cards all being triggered by Dusk, which would be more than enough to win the round. During the next ante, I would continue creating more glass with all of the tarot cards from the Tarot Tycoon voucher, though I wouldn't find any new jokers worth taking. And while it's not the most interesting build, it was a reliable strategy, and it was clear my opponent was not going to catch up, meaning I would take this first match, putting it 1-0. Though my next match would not be so easy as it was against Cass, currently ranked 5th on the leaderboard with an 85% win rate. I'm going to quickly summarize this match as it was quite similar to the first. We both picked up the trio early on, using it along with some glass for the first face-off. Then the next ante gave me Sock and Buskin along with Photograph, winning me the next round, which led to a small pivot to Ancient Joker, making me rely on luck as all of my glass was hearts. Picking up a Brainstorm as well would give me a very strong score in the next boss blind, but it would be just shy of enough. Though an Invisible Joker in the following shop would bring me back with a very strong build, scoring E13. In the next ante, I also picked up Bloodstone, but was set to lose this blind as Cass had been using Idol and it hit this round. But that wouldn't matter as some issues with the mod made it so we couldn't continue this match, and as it was such a close game, we decided to rematch, which unfortunately led to a loss for me, putting it 1-1. To gain the lead, I would have to win this next match against the number 1 ranked player, Oathkeep, which I unfortunately forgot to record, meaning you're gonna have to take my word that I was able to beat him on a very strong Turbulate seed, breaking his 37 game win streak. I now only needed one more game to win this best of 5, and up next was Vagabond. Fortunately, I remembered to record this game as it had a very interesting start, with an Ante 2 shop offering a Ouija while I had a Turtle Bean. So, of course I used it, giving me 15 5s in my deck to start the round off. This would be difficult to pull off against the very strong face card meta, but it would at least win me the first round. In the second ante, I continued enhancing my 5s wherever I can, as strong deck building is the best thing you can do on the Zodiac deck. But with a weak Arcana pack in the next shop, I decided to take a Judgment, and this would be a very good decision as it gave me Idol, which is normally very hard to use, but already having 15 5s in my deck while being on Zodiac would make it very doable. So, knowing I had to get my 5s to the same suit, I used the Moon Tarot card and started converting as many 5s as I could to clubs. In the big blind shop before the face-off, I realized I made the right decision going for clubs as Idol had hit 5 of clubs just in time. I then unfortunately had to sell Turtle Bean and picked up Dusk in its place. With Idol on the right card along with Dusk, I could play a very strong hand, giving me 3 million chips, on ante 3. And though I had a very strong lead, I would need a lot of deck fixing and luck to keep this going. So I picked up the Tarot Tycoon voucher in the next shop, giving me as much deck fixing as possible. With a lucky card hitting for $20 in the small blind, I was able to find the family along with Justice in the next shop, then replacing Scary Face with To-Do List to get a more reliable source of econ. With very few scoring jokers in the big blind, I would have to risk my red seal glass to not lose a life. And though I might have taken that trade normally, To-Do List was on 4 of a kind, so I played it and it luckily didn't break. And just in time once again, Idol hit 5 of clubs just before the face-off. This would be more than enough to beat Vagabond, as he knew he wasn't going to win this round, so he threw away his hands, putting him down to just 1 life. I was now in a very good position with 3 lives remaining and heading into the next shop with $87. All I would need now is for Idol to hit 1 more time within my 3 lives. But there was some bad news in the next shop, as Photograph had shown up, being no use to me, but working very well for Vagabond. I wasn't able to find much in this first shop, but after the small blind, I picked up a copy of Death and the Fool, along with a golden ticket, which would be quite strong, as I had a good amount of gold 5s at this point. But instead of copying my gold cards, I would use the Death to copy my red seal glass, making a pivot from clubs, as I had a similar amount of each. For now, I would discard my glass and look for my gold to play with Dusk, making for a good source of econ. With the Tarot Tycoon voucher, I was able to make a lot more 5 of hearts before the next face-off, but it wouldn't be enough because Idol had hit 7s. It wasn't over yet though, as I had more than 5 red seal glass at this point, which would be even stronger than my previous hands with Idol. So with Vagabond on his last life, I shipped the hand, and it would be my highest score of the round at 800 million chips. Though high, Vagabond had the same hand, but with Photograph on top, it would be enough to take the round, putting me down to 2 more lives for Idol to hit. In the following shop, I picked up the Sun along with a Fool to start converting my 5 of clubs to hearts, giving a better chance for the Idol to be on the right card. After spending so hard in the last shop, I picked up the Devil along with the Fool in the next shop to start getting my econ back. With the money from the gold cards, I created even more 5 of hearts, and at this point having over 1/3 of my deck being the right card, with 3 more chances for Idol to hit. But that would not be the case for this next face-off, so I decided to concede the round going for econ, as I could not nearly score as high as Vagabond did last round. But this would be a big mistake, as he had only scored 300 million, and having scored more than that previously with just red seal glass, I would have been able to end the match here, but it was too late, so I would again have to bet on Idol. So I continued trimming my deck and making more 5 of hearts. For the small blind, Idol was on 6 of hearts, which was close but not what I needed. Then for the big blind, it was on King of Spades, meaning I had just 1 more chance for it to hit. So I used the last shop to create as many more 5s as I could, and by the end of my big blind, the deck had 25 of hearts out of a 40 card deck, and with my last chance, it hit 4 of spades, of which I only had 1. But I was given 1 more chance to win the match, as I re-rolled to find Ancient Joker, and if on hearts, would likely be enough. But if my luck with Idol showed you anything, I'm sure you could guess that it wasn't. So I headed to the final face-off with just my glass red seal 5s, hoping it would be enough. And I would never find out, as I wasn't even able to draw them, meaning I had lost the match, putting it 2-2. It was now all up to this last game, and I was up against Owen, who is rank 9 on the leaderboard with an 85% win rate and a 33 game win streak. It started with a very boring first shop where I took Troll Joker along with Flashcard, hoping to get it up later. Then in the big blind shop, we both agreed not to take speedrun to make the match easier. And wanting to find any edge I can, I took an extra reroll in the first ante, which didn't give anything crazy other than a Hermit, which I held onto. Then in the first shop of the following ante, I purchased Golden Joker to start getting my money back. Still, with mediocre jokers, it was enough to beat the blinds, but there was no clear direction. So while waiting for something to show up, I picked up Trading Card to help thin my deck and get some extra econ. And in the final shop before the face-off, I finally found an okay scoring joker and picked it up after using my Hermit. I also picked up a Justice card but wouldn't end up needing it in the face-off, as expectedly my opponent was still scoring quite low. The following shop would again have nothing worth taking, and with not having enough econ to reroll at this point, I would have to move on. The next shop would have the first decent joker with a Judgment giving me Joker Stencil. But I got rid of it as I needed to fill my joker slots with utility jokers at the moment, so I placed it with Scary Face, giving easy scoring when paired with Smiley Face. I then would pick up a blue seal along with a magician before heading into the next face-off. And with 2 glass kings and a 4 of a kind, I thought I had this round in the bag, but Owen's final hand was just a few chips off from beating me. Ante 4 started with a very strong Arcana pack, which I used to create a few more kings and turned 1 more into glass during the small blind. I then took Constellation from a Buffoon pack in the next shop, as I had quite a few blue seals at this point. Then the big blind shop would finally have something interesting, with a Spectral pack offering a Deja Vu, Cryptid, or Ankh. And though I would normally take the Ankh, I had nothing good to duplicate, so I would yet again create a red seal glass king. I then made even more glass kings and leveled up Constellation before moving on to the face-off. With so many glass cards at this point, I could play a very strong hand, and with only drawing 4 glass, I shipped it and scored 300,000 chips. But it seemed Owen had something better than me to Ankh, scoring 1.7 million. The next shop might just have enough to get me up to that score though, as just a few rerolls in, I once again found Sock and Buskin, and that, along with bringing a Fool and a Death into the small blind, I was now very strong with many glass kings, 3 of which were red seals. With the rest of the ante not having any jokers of interest other than business card, it was already time for the next face-off, with Owen on 2 lives. At this point, I had more than enough glass kings, and a small enough deck to find them. Though the score to beat was quite a lot higher at 63 million chips. So I shipped my 5 red seal glass kings, scoring 1 billion chips, winning me the round, as Owen had lost a life to a blind earlier in the game. So that was it. I had won the best of 5, beating some of the top players along the way, and I was feeling a lot better about the upcoming tournament now. And if you'd like to tune into that, I'll be streaming it live later this month on the 29th. If you're interested in the Balatro multiplayer mod, I'll leave a link to the Discord in the description with instructions on how to set it up. Bye.